Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video, and we're gonna talk some more Pokemon Go. All right, first things first, and it's probably cleared up by now, but I wanted to speak on it, and I feel like I've talked about it a little bit, and of course, nothing happened, and eventually something does happen. That's how it works on this channel. For those of you who've been watching from the beginning of the Pokemon Go videos, you'll understand that I'll say something that I think is good for the game or that could potentially be bad for the game. Niantic eventually does it, and then suddenly there's mass panic across the Pokemon Go community. Or elation. Usually the elation is a lot later than the mass panic, but here we go. So recently some data miners have found that there is some inscription on or some notation on the remote raid passes that seemed to hint that Niantic was trying to limit the amount of remote raids you could do per day. So there's two sides to that argument. One which is like, hey, that's great because now that forces people to get out here and play more in person. Now let's just be clear. The player base from the game has dropped off from the beginning, right? And, you know, it should be no surprise. The game has been going on since 2016, and here we are 2023, and a lot of us still play. But a lot of us is a far cry from what it was in its inception, right? So that's okay. You have video games that people only play for 2-3 years and then move on. What I want to find out is if Pokemon Go outlasts Fortnite with its player base. I digress. Pokemon Go was hit by COVID very harshly, where an in-person game that you constantly interact with others and trade and, you know, just kind of be with your peers, your neighbors, you couldn't really do that. So to keep the game alive, they introduced these remote raids, right? You follow me? The remote raids, for some, felt like cheating because you had people who could spoof their location and play, and it made those of us who were out in person playing feel slighted because we could play for hours a day and not get what somebody who sitting on their couch could get. Now, this is just remote raiding. This isn't catching Pokemon remotely, right? You're limited to what you're surrounded by to interact with. But in that situation, you can get whatever you want. You could just tap on random. You could filter out whatever Pokemon you wanted to get to, and that's against Niantic's terms of service. So they changed things up to say, well, you can join raids with other people who don't live near you, and this helps, especially if you live in an urban area, or I should not say urban, a rural area where there's not too many Pokestops, let alone people. And at the time, Pokemon, right? They had it, if you remember, where Pokemon majorly appeared in highly dense areas. So where there were a lot of Pokestops, you get a lot of Pokemon. Where there weren't a lot of Pokestops, there weren't a lot of Pokemon, right? So you've got groups now that are just remote raids. Myself, I've made one. It's just remote raids. It's just a chat, simple chat, but you've got actual apps that link people together to just remote raids, and you don't have to actually play with people anymore to get the Pokemon that you want. And that's good and bad because it keeps you from linking up, and eventually the people who were down to link up and play, they're like, well, nobody's out here anymore. Let me just stay home and play. Then you miss out on your lucky friends and everything else, but you know, it's what it is. I think people care more about if they're spending their time and money not spending gas than they do about meeting new people. That's the way of the world right now with technology. On the other hand, you have people who are like, you know, hey, this is great for me because I wanted to interact with people, and if they're out here playing with me, that evens the playing field. But does it? I don't think it does, right? Because for the guys who are, and I think I talked about both sides on accident and didn't realize it. For the guys who are on the other sides who are like, this is devastating because now I have to get out and play more, and it's really, it doesn't do anything. You can do your 6 raids and then just not play anymore. Or you can do your 6 raids and then find one that's like a 3-star or something. So maybe Niantic's walked it back because that inscription is no longer found, or maybe they just moved it back for an update and they're going to release it later. But that's really not the answer. The answer is simply this. If you want the shiny in the raid, you should have increased odds of getting it if you play in person, point blank. Do as many remote raids as you want. Why does it matter? You're still charging for those, right? It's not like they're free. In the beginning, they gave a discount to encourage you to use the remote raids, which was dumb. You should have just had it at the same price and then eventually raised it up. Right? It should have been like that. Oh, they were $1 each. No, it was 3 of them for $3, right? Or 3 of them for like $2.50, I think it was. Which was 50 cents less. So you were saving more in the beginning. Now they're all the same, but I think, and it'll be unpopular. But I think it should cost more if you want to incentivize people to come out. And if you don't make it cost more, then you need to increase the shinies for those of us who are playing, because we're the ones keeping the game going. We really are. The interaction part of it, we're keeping it going. It's just a regular Pokemon game if you can sit at home and play. And that's pretty much just my opinion. So we'll see what they do. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I would love to spend time debating. Not really, but I don't mind. But we're going to end this one, and we're going to talk about the recent event that just ended that I also wanted to share. There's been a lot going on in the game, and I told y'all I was going to, wait until I felt like making videos and not just make videos for the sake of making videos going forward for Pokemon Go, and the same for Pikmin Bloom. So I will see you in the next one. Remember to go ahead and leave me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe. Other Yellow Hat Guy is out. Captain Sensation!